All information on this channel is intended as educational information and not as financial advice. So one of the first things you'll notice about the cloud indicator is that there are 4 numbers. I've explained these numbers in a previous video. I'll link that up, so check that out. For crypto, because it's 24/7 full month trading, I recommend 20/60, 120, 30. I've used these settings for over 3 years. They've been tested, they've been tried, they work, I promise. You don't have to believe me, you don't have to use them. Whatever you want to use is fine. So a lot of people put on the cloud, they get a little intimidated, as did I when I first saw it. It's a lot of stuff coming at you without any knowledge as to what or why. So first things first, let's remove some of this stuff. Okay, so let's get rid of the lagging span. I'm actually going to get rid of the TK lines as well. So this vid is going to be talking about the cloud, big mama jama. So at the end of the day, the cloud serves a few purposes. Mainly, it's all about trend, baby. If price is above cloud, we're in a bull trend. Period. End of story. Don't even think about it. Don't even assess it any other way. That's it. That's all there is on any time frame. Now, if price is below cloud, we are in a bearish trend. Boom, boom, here and here. If we're like we were here, sort of, vacillating in and out, perambulating, if you will, that may suggest consolidation, bottom type stuff, okay? Now, when price is in the cloud, I always say that is a no trade zone. That's because when price is in the cloud, you can think of trend as being indeterminate, okay? There's no clear direction. Direction is still trying to be determined, all right? So visually how I think about this, if we make the cloud really bright, okay? So you'll see when I hover over it. Visually, in my mind, when I'm looking at the cloud, this is how I think of it, and this is how you should think of it. It is a dynamic resistance when price is above or below it. When price is inside of it, it's not worth looking at, it's not worth thinking about. There's usually no money to be made that's worth it, okay? Now, depending on the thickness of the cloud, there's some other techniques that I use, like the edge-to-edge thing. I'll go over in another video separately. But especially for new traders, if price is in the cloud, that's no trade zone, okay? Now, another thing that's very important to pay attention to is called the Kuhmo Breakout, okay? Again, I'll go over this in another video, but you'll see when price lifts out of the cloud or lifts down below the cloud, that is generally thought of in a vacuum as an entry signal, especially when it's paired with volume. Now, there are very special cases, such as this one, where you might call black swan type event, whatever you want to call it. There's always exceptions to the rule. For the most part, anytime you see a Kuhmo breakout, that is a long or short entry signal, okay? Now, you'll see Kuhmo breakout here, great long signal. Kuhmo breakout here, not so great long signal. But we continued accumulating and continued above the cloud, okay? So again, this is one part of the multi-part checklist that is the cloud system. The most important part, if you are above the cloud, you should be looking for longs. If you're below the cloud, you should be looking for shorts. If you're above the cloud on the weekly, that's saying you're going to make more money going long than you are going short. Why? Because trend is strongly biased towards the bullish market, okay? Which is why I always start on the weekly when I'm looking at charts. On any of my weekly videos, you'll see that sets my mind for every downstream time frame, like the 4-hour, etc., etc., etc. Now, certainly you can make money in lower time frames on high leverage. That's not an issue. But in general, the trend is always going to be your friend. Okay, don't ignore your friend. If your friend is bullish, so should you be. And another thing I'll argue is that cloud on higher time frames is one of the best indicators of entry signals and trend out of any available indicator that I've ever seen ever, which admittedly isn't a lot of indicators, but it's enough for me to be confident in that argument. So again, cloud is support. If we break through support, what does that tell you? It tells you there's been a reversal, trend is switched, there's a bearish bias now, okay? If we don't, that says continuation. I mean, that's all it is. Don't overcomplicate it. So when you're looking at the cloud by itself, above the cloud, bullish, below the cloud, bearish. Special things to look for. Edge-to-edge trades, I'll go over another video. Kuhmo Breakouts, I'll go over another video. And Kuhmo Twists, which I'll go over in another video. And then lastly, I'll just mention flat Kuhmo equals magnet principle, and I'll explain that in a separate video as well. But essentially, the reason flat Kuhmo or any flat line on the cloud appears is because it is a 50% fib. So like I said in the intro video, fibs are an important part of trading and an important part of the Ichimoku cloud system. And you'll see here, this was the 50% fib of this move, okay? So that's why the longer you're in a zone, it won't change. You know, that fib, that level isn't going to change. The longer you're there, the more probability that you will hit that zone. So if I slap on my Ichi Cloud entry checklist, you'll see numbers 1 and 2, these are listed in order of priority, by the way. Numbers 1 and 2, all about the cloud, okay? So you'll notice, again, I'm just going to use this as an example. We had the Kuhmo Breakout, so that was price position relative to cloud. Cloud eventually turned bullish, so you have to think this is 30 periods ahead. So I have to count this back. Let's take a look. So around this candle, this is 30 periods back, we had a Kuhmo twist. Again, I'll talk about that in a separate video, but again, part of the checklist. The cloud is super, super, super important. I can't stress that enough. And then just to round up the checklist real quick, I'll hammer this over and over again on every video. We had the TK cross, which was bullish, the faster EMA over the slower EMA, blue over red, and then lagging span was well above price and cloud at this point. So all cylinders are go. This says entry, baby. So you might say to yourself, this was a little late as an entry. I agree, which is why sometimes I ignore the checklist and focus primarily on the Kuhmo Breakout. But on balance, on net, the cloud as a whole is meant to capture 80% of the trend, and it's also meant for you as a trader to avoid fake out breakouts, bad entries, garbage trades in general, okay? So let's move on to the next video.